not necessarily going to be a game for everybody. Think of it like if you play War Thunder arcade battles, and that's as far as you go, then you might be more into a game like Hawken. Whereas if you play War Thunder Realistic or Simulator, you might be more into a game like this. This is a lot more simulator-esque than arcadey. But I've had a lot of fun with it, so let's check it out. So first off, this is a mech right here, and you can choose from a lot of them. And these are all the ones that I own. I own quite a few now. I've spent some money on the game because I enjoy it. But there's a lot more that you could get. And they all suit a lot of different playstyles. You can set them up and customize them pretty much any way that you want within the limitations of the frame. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. I grew up on Armored Core. I grew up on Gundam. I grew up on, Macross, all that stuff. So I've always liked giant robots. And then customizing giant robots got me into MechWarrior, and very similar to Armored Core that way. So if that seems like your bag, this might be the game for you. So I've kind of described what the game is, and I'd like to talk to you about the good points and bad points, and then we'll go into, if you want to play this game, these are the things that you'll need to know. So first off, let's go ahead and grab the settings menu, and I will give you a tip right now. This button right here is bugged. There is a toggle key under keyboard down here, toggle arm lock. This one, I set it to right shift. Make sure you bind this and use it every time you enter a battle. It will save your butt. I'm just going to give that right now. Video, you can do all sorts of different stuff. It's got plenty of different options. Windowed, full screen, borderless, all that good stuff. DirectX, motion blur, I always turn it off. It's really helpful to have it off, by the way. Damage glow, if you have a high-end computer, you can do that. And then, of course, I've got everything set to very, very high because I have a computer that can run it on very, very high, so that's kind of cool. Audio, you may want to bring all this down. Let's go ahead and I'll just save that. And actually, I don't know if you can hear the music. Let's see. There you go. It's got a nice little soundtrack. We'll just do that so you guys can listen to that in the background. All right, so what are these buttons right here? Well, we've got the online store, and it's kind of expensive. And unfortunately, the game gets a little grindy, and that's kind of a downside to it. It can get really grindy really fast. That being said, I typically would say, if you wanted to spend a little bit of like $7 on, I think is what it is, on a mech for like one of the, super high-end ones, I guess you could say. It's a free-to-play game, so this whole thing's free to play. So you can get maybe $7 support the developers if you end up liking it. You get 25 matches when you start, and I can show that to you right here. So you get 25 matches at the beginning. They're called your cadet bonus matches, and so you'll be earning not quite that much every time. It slowly goes down. So 419,000 for number 2, 424 for the first match that you play, 414, etc. And that lets you, by 25, you usually have enough to buy pretty much whatever mech you want. Now that's a bonus that goes in above however much you earn in the game. So you earn by doing damage and all that stuff, and we'll go over that later. But down here, you've got a tutorial. It doesn't teach you a whole lot, so I'm going to try to run through that really quickly with you. But first off, let's take a look at a mech. Let's see. We will grab something that y'all can grab too. Centurion. Why not? So I'm going to go into configuration, and if I hit details right here, you can see you got a right arm, right torso, left arm, left leg, center torso, and head. And then you have a whole bunch of equipment stuff. And I'll go through all this stuff here in just a second. But what we'll do real quick is look at, we'll strip the mech down, so strip all equipment, strip all modules. I'm not going to strip the armor off this one because it costs money to put it back. I don't have a whole lot of money in game. I got 1.7 mil, which isn't bad, but could be better. So right here, the first thing you want to do with your mech once you get your own. Now there are trial mechs. I guess I'll just show that to you real quick. We'll just, there we go. So these ones right here, this is trial. These are the mechs that you can pilot right off the bat. You can't customize them, but you can pilot them and do whatever you want with them until you buy your own mech. So I would suggest, if we go to, come on, we'll go here. You can kind of see, you know, you got your lights, you got 3 different light mechs, medium, you got 3 different medium mechs. I would suggest trying out a few different ones. This is like an artillery style. Those are giant missile pods, which are kind of fun. This is I think this one has a giant shotgun or something. And then you've got, I think this is just mostly energy cannons. No, AC-10, a couple large lasers. Okay. So I'll explain to you guys what that is, and I won't necessarily go too in-depth, but I'll kind of give you a working knowledge if I can. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with, what was it? Medium. We'll start with our Centurion. Figure that, so we're going to go ahead and strip mech. Strip all that out. So first thing when you get your own mech is this. This is the upgrades area. So you got standard armor, ferrofibrous. Now they don't change your armor values, but they change the weight. So everything in here is based off of weight, right? So this mech is a 55 ton, I think. So that means that when you get your mech, you have 55 tons to play with. So you'd have your engine in the center, or however. I'll go through that in a minute. But in order to reduce weight, you can get endosteel or ferrofibrous armor. However, it takes up more space. So I've got endosteel on here, and you can see that right here. So shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, hand actuator, all that stuff. And you'll see dynamic structure slot. This is that endosteel. And these are the spaces, the amount of space that it takes up. So it's a lot of space, but I save weight, so I'm only 11 tons. If I were to, I'll do this really quick. If I were to go here, it's 13.5. So that adds 2.5 tons, but I have all this space now. For this mech, I'm not going to be able to use all that, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to endosteel. Now, let's go to loadout, and the first thing you're going to want, center torso, engine. And you can see, if you buy an engine, you can fit it to any mech, anytime, whatever. We'll go with a standard 255, which should get us up and moving pretty quick. There you go, we're going to move right here. You see 82.6 kph. And then this little button will say, hey, no valid weapons equipped. Well, we'll get there, dang it. So, right now, if we go back to mech details, you'll see there's nothing in here except for this standard engine. And if you notice this dynamic structure slots, they move around. So essentially they're treated as empty slots like this. But so these dynamic structure slots can move anywhere in the mech that you don't have something. However, they're basically going to fill up. So I basically could, all this space right here, all that is already taken up, but it's like it'll move around the mech for you, which is kind of nice. So I've got 20 tons to play with. I got 30 tons out of 50. So she's getting pretty heavy, and we might have to lower the engines, but we'll see. So one thing about this is that this, or each mech will take damage. So I've got 32 points of armor in the left arm, 32 in the right. If my right arm gets all that armor taken off and then gets shot a few more times, it will explode. It'll go bye-bye, and I won't have a right arm anymore. So this is a ballistics slot, so if I all of a sudden lose that, it's gone. So the way that your mech dies is if both your legs are killed. So if they take out both your legs, your mech is not standing anymore, it's going to fall to the ground. You're no longer able to fight. If the center torso is taken out, because I've got a standard engine in it, your engine's gone, you can't fight, you can't generate power, you're done. If your head is taken out, that's your cockpit, you're dead, literally. you as a pilot is gone, you can't fight anymore. Now there are XL engines which are lighter, but they take up more space. It seems to be the way that it works. Either heavier and takes up less, so you'd think more dense metal, that sort of thing, or lighter but takes up more space. And so XL engines can provide very much the same power, but they'll spread into the right and left torso. Now we don't want to do that on this mech, simply because of this. This is 2 energy hardpoints. And what that means is, and you can see them right there and there, I can fit lasers to these. And what ends up happening then is, let's say my left right torso, and left torso are all taken out. I can still fight if because none of the critical parts have been taken out. Now I might, get that to happen by rotating my arm around, so if they're shooting at me right at the front, they can hit my center torso, my cockpit, my legs, whatever else. But if I turn, all of a sudden, they can hit a leg, but they're going to hit this arm, more likely. And that's my left arm. It has nothing in it, so it can take that damage, and it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. I can use that as a shield. Likewise on this side. Now this side does have a weapon slot, and we're probably going to use that, but we're going to try to sacrifice this side to keep us up going for a while, and then we're going to try to sacrifice this side if we need to. We'll get to that later, but it's this is known as zombieing, when everything but the critical components are gone, and if you can still fight, you're considered a zombie mech. So that's what we're doing. So first things first, let's go ahead and grab a couple of medium lasers. So you can see right here, it shows tons, the health, damage, so each one does 5 damage. I've got 2 of them here, and it generates heat, let's see, 4 heat, so it's like 4 to 6% heat depending. And you can see right here, heat management 1.93. Now I'll explain this a little bit better here in just a little bit, but that heat is going to become very important. So right torso, I can fit something called AMS. Now this is an anti-missile system. I don't know if you guys know what CWIS is on the on like aircraft carriers and Navy ships. It's an anti-missile system. It looks like R2-D2, and it shoots stuff shoots the missiles directly out of the air. This is important, at least for the way that I play, because I tend to get stuck dealing with this sort of thing. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to grab a case, and I typically don't grab these, but this is a half a ton. We're going to grab a case, and we're going to put it right there. And what happens is, if you've got ammo, let's say in the right torso, and you don't have a case around, it can blow up and actually take out your center torso or do damage to it, which significantly lessens your life expectancy, if you will. So we're going to add a case, just in case. Yeah, whatever. And we're going to add a ton of AMS ammo. Now, we're going to probably add more later on, but that's a good start. So, right arm, ballistic. I skipped the left torso. We're going to get back to this. It has 3 missile slots. I don't know about that right now. I'm a fan of missiles, but I'm not that much of a fan of missiles half the time. So we've got an AC-10. This does 10 damage, and you can see the little damage and range thing. So it reaches out. It's got a max range, I think, of about 400, 450, maybe 500. And then the damage starts going down the higher the distance is. Now, AC-10s do 10 damage. They require ammo and all that good stuff. I'm kind of thinking something a little smaller. I don't like a whole bunch of ammo. See, this is 6 tons. The AC-10 is 12 tons. We've only got 16 tons to play with. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for something nice and light if we can find it. So that's a 9 ton. It's a 6 ton. Maybe we'll just go for a machine gun for the moment. So we're going to stick a machine gun in there. We'll add ammo later, and we'll do it all in that right torso, because if that right torso goes away, I lose my AMS and my ballistic slot. Alright, so I won't have any of that anymore anyway. So it's not a big deal. Left arm doesn't have anything. Right leg, you can put ammo in there. Don't ask me how the ammo gets to the stuff. Whatever. It doesn't make sense. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an LRM-5. Now these are long-range missiles. And they fire 5 at a time. Makes sense, right? It's 2 tons, requires ammo. So let's go through and let's add some ammo. We're going to go back to the right torso, grab some ammo here. And we're gonna need machine gun ammo, so let's grab a ton of that, literally, and that's 2,000 shots. Now, machine guns are very, very close range, and they're really great for kind of think of them as armor-piercing rounds, and that's kind of how we're gonna use it. Now, one of the things that we're gonna need. Missiles are right here. They're on this left side. Right along there. So we don't want to add missile ammo right there, although that will probably go away pretty quickly. You know, this spot is going to be the first one we're going to hopefully get destroyed if we get hit at all, because this is the side we're going to try to present to the enemy. That being said, we'll see. So we got 1 ton of AMS ammo, that's 1,000 shots. We got 1 ton of machine gun ammo, that's 2,000 shots. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to stick one in the left leg, or now, left or right leg? Left leg. Why not? We're going to go ahead and add some LRM ammo. Now this will blow up, but it won't really hit anything else on its own. So let's grab a ton of LRM ammo. So LRM ammo, that's 180 shots. I'm firing 5 at a time. It's not great, it's just supposed to give, you know, that little bit of extra punchiness, if you will. Or, well, long-range ability, because unfortunately you find yourself, or I tend to find myself, stuck in the rear with a gear. Now, our heat management is 1.74, which is actually pretty solid. Let's see here, right torso. So now we've got 1.5 tons left to play with. Personally, I know that this one's going to be a bit of a brawler, so we're going to add an extra ton of AMS ammo and an extra half ton of machine gun ammo. And that brings us up to 40 tons. Oh, actually, we've got another 10 tons to play with. I am so out of it right now. So let's go back. And now what we can do is we can really start getting this down. We're going to add an SRM-6, I think. Yep. SRM-6, this fires 6 short-range missiles that have like a max range of about 250, and after that they just go boom and blow up. Actually, now we're switching to streak SRMs. So these ones require a target lock. However, they always hit, which is kind of a plus. So we're gonna add that, and we've got 1 more hard point. So I'm thinking we'll go ahead and we'll switch out the LRM-5s for 2 LRM-10s, because we've got this. No, we don't. Okay. What is the LRM-5? What is that? 46.5. Okay. So that's where we're going to go. Streak SRM-2, LRM-10, and LRM-5. So that's 15 missiles that we're going to fire out. We can kind of chain fire those together. We're going to go back down to the left leg, and we're going to add. Actually, we're going to go right torso. We're going to add 1 more ton of LRM ammo here, so that if our leg or our right torso is destroyed, it's not a big deal. Now, we're trying to keep all the ballistic and AMS ammo right here, but we're going to spread out the SRM ammo, the streak SRM, right here. We're going to spread that out a little bit. So we're actually going to go ahead and put that in the left. Well, we'll put it in the right leg because it shouldn't mess with us too much. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we've got 1.5 tons left to play with, and I like to look over here to see what the heck's going on. So we've got streak SRMs. We don't have anything in the left arm. We don't want anything in the left arm. That's just there to soak up damage. That's it. We've got nothing in the head, but we don't need anything there. Center torso. We've literally got no more weapon slots. So what we can do is we can take a look at the equipment. We can do heat sinks. We can, well, can't do heat sinks here, but we could do heat sinks in one of these. But I'm thinking the Beagle Active Probe. So let's see if we can find a good spot to put a Beagle. Equipment. Can't do it there, but we can probably do it in the left torso. We'll do a Beagle Active Probe right there. And that brings us up to 50. So what this does is it just gives us a little bit more sensor range, speeds up our targeting data so we know where the enemy's weak points are going to be. And we can find out if there's a mech that shuts down, which makes them very, very hard to see in close range. Now all those things, now I already owned some of them. Some of them I didn't. It cost me 461,000 credits, which is where you start to have some problems because, I mean, you can make that in one battle for the cadet matches, but you have to buy the frickin' thing first. Alright, so we've got this set up. We got our Centurion, and so we're sitting on a machine gun, which isn't that great, but hey, why not? We've got all of our ammo and AMS ammo and a little bit of LRM ammo right there. We've got 2 tons of LRM ammo, which is about 360 shots, I think. But when you're only firing 15 at a time, not a big deal. Got an active probe, a streak SRM2, and medium lasers and all that stuff. So now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into a test match so we can go in and make sure this is all good. So all I'm doing is going to home, hitting testing grounds, forest colony, and let's go. So this gives you the opportunity to fight random mechs that are, you know, they don't have pilots or anything like that. They're not going to fire back, but it gives you an idea of what your mech is going to do. So here we are. We're in our mech. So if you look down at the bottom right, you'll see, I'm going to start moving these. You're going to see all this, and this is the important part. This is weapons groupings. Now, if you want to play the game, the first thing you want to do is jump into a test match with a trial mech and set these up. It's actually kind of important. So we're going to set LRM 6s, or the LRMs, up into one of my hotkeys. So I've got 1 and 2. That's left click is 1, right click is 2. So the first thing we're going to want to do, actually I want this gun. So first thing we're going to want to do is say, okay, medium lasers are going to probably be my primary firing. I like that there, so that's going to work. My machine gun is going to be number 2, and that has 3,000 shots, so that'll be right click, and that's by default. 3, if you have like a back button or a forward button or any of those on your mouse, that's where that's going to be. You might want to test it out, figure out what buttons are what, and you can always rebind these easy. So I've got 3 as my back button, so we're going to go ahead and set these because this is a little bit harder button for me to reach, but these have an effective range between, I think, 200 or 250 meters and about 1,000. So if they're in that distance away from me, it shouldn't be a problem to move my hand. So, and then we're going to go ahead and do this. This is a much easier button for me to reach, and these are the Streak SRM2s, and I'll show you exactly how all these work. So we've got all this, and one of the things that a lot of people have problems with when they first start is, how do I open the map? And you can see that down there in the center of the screen. You just hit B. It's kind of a weird button to hit, but it's actually easier than M. So you use WASD to move. So W will get you going forward. Right, or D is right. A is left. S will get you to go backwards. And it acts like a tank. It has a slowdown time. You can only go so fast backwards as opposed to forward. And then if you look on the other side of them, and you can see that going up, you can see your speed. there on the left side of the map. On the right side of the map, however, you can see the heat. Now watch that right here, and that's Bitchin' Betty. So if I fire something like my machine gun, it won't generate much heat, but that's because it's a combustion weapon. It's just your average gun. If I fire something like a laser, you'll see that heat went up to 10%. Now, if I keep firing, and firing all sorts of stuff, there we go, took him out. Not that that was a big deal. You'll see that heat goes up. Now, some mechs are going to have a lower heat management score, which means they're going to gain heat at a faster rate. They won't be able to dissipate it as quickly. That's important to know because that's going to dictate how you play. If you overheat, you shut down for a period of time while your heat comes back under control. It can be overridden, but it's not necessarily a good idea. And what ends up happening is
new target acquired.
You're a sitting duck, and they're just going to shoot at you. Here goes an SRM. So, the next thing is down on the bottom left. You'll see my mech, and so if I take damage to any of those spots, it'll turn different colors. Obviously, you know, the lighter the color, the better. If it goes completely black, I don't have that anymore. So if your arm gets blown off, you'll see it. And I'm sure you'll see it when I go into an actual fight. And on the top right, you'll see their mech. So we did damage to their right front leg and center torso. You can zoom in and all. And so what we'll do is we'll just keep doing damage to this leg. And you can see they're running out of health. And now this, you have to be targeting a mech in order to see that. You do that by hitting R. So we're going to take out the leg here. And mind you, this doesn't use up ammo. Once you bought those ammo packs, it refills automatically for you. It's not a big deal. So there we go. We took out both legs, and he's going down. Now there are much heavier mechs. There's 4 different types. There's the lights, the mediums, the heavies, and the assaults. I'm driving a medium right now. I typically don't drive mediums. I actually drive assaults and lights, which is sort of a weird dichotomy. But I'll be, if you all end up wanting to see some of that gameplay, I'll show that to you. But I figured for the purposes of this is a good mech to start with, and this loadout's not bad, and you can switch out some of the ammo and all later on. Now this is a heavy mech. He's a 100-tonner. He's huge and pretty scary. He's got a big gun there, a couple lasers, some missiles. Not a fun time. So you can go for the center torso, and you'll see we're doing a little bit of damage right up there. And we're just going to keep hitting him. And you'll see how long it takes to get through this. It takes forever. And that's by design, of course. But that's the thing. These are brawlers. Now, if you're actually driving one of these, you're going to be torso twisting. So if he were attacking me, I might fire a laser, then turn to the left. Here, I'll go to third person. You can turn to the left and try to absorb it. Turn back around, fire, turn, that sort of thing. Now we're going to be moving the whole time, of course. And if you end up wanting to play in third person as opposed to first, feel free. You just lose your map, which kind of sucks because that map is extremely helpful. So I tend to play in first person. Now, we will go into a game here in just a little bit, but these are the basics. These are the little things that you might want to know. And the next little bit, let's see here. So that's an assault down there. I drive those. They're fun. Slow, but fun. And lights are meant for harassment. If you ever run into a light, and this is actually a light right here. Let's go and check him out. I'll show you what they tend to look like. If I'm a medium, I'm the next size up. That's a light, and they're tiny. They're incredibly fast. They're meant for harassment, maybe picking off an enemy that's weak or something like that, or generally just screwing with people until you know your heavies can get in close. Now here's another Centurion. and this is the one that you can actually pilot right away if you want to. It's a good mech. It's pretty well balanced. And then we'll go ahead and check out a heavy. I believe there's one over here. And as you can see, I'm up at 82.6 kph, which is about a medium speed.
New target acquired.
It's not super fast, but it's not half bad. All right, here's a heavy. This is a cataphract, and you can drive one of these as well if you end up wanting to. I haven't actually drove this one, driven, whatever. But they're pretty heavily armed. They got a nice big shotgun. The problem that I see with this is, you can see, like, to get this gun right here, let's get back into first person. To get this gun right here to bring to bear on a target, you have to show all of that. Like, you have to show your entire mech. So a lot of these end up being jump snipers. You have something called jump jets on certain mechs, and then jump up, shoot, and drop back down, exposing very, very small portions of their mech at a time.
New target acquired.
What is that? That's an awesome. Have fun. Alright, so with that, I think I will go ahead and jump on out of here. You just quit match. And yeah, so it's a fun game. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of the basics, and from here I think we're going to go into some of the gameplay. So after you've customized your mech or chosen your trial mech or whatever else, here are the basic ones you get at the beginning. Once you've kind of figured out what you want to get or want to try out, you can go in and play a game. You just hit play now. You can people. There's a friend system. Got a whole bunch of them. There's Dalmont, Saber, Sirenica, Lunia, Lichgrave. Got everybody down here. Banyan and Geek. And so yeah. So if you want to try it out, cool. There's a link down below. But we're gonna go into some gameplay. So enjoy.